let's give that moderate. That is one. Let's save this. So we wrote test scenario for submit button and test scenario for cancel button. Now let's write test scenarios for username. Verify the functionality of username text box. And next one is just copy paste that one and change username to password. Now here we have written test scenarios for 4 objects or 4 functionalities here. That is, for the first one is the username text box, the next one is for password, submit button and cancel button. Here what I mean by verify the functionality of username text box is that we should check the username text box, what it is accepting and what it is not accepting, the valid values it is accepting and the values it is not accepting. So priority, let's give that moderate, and moderate for password also. Let's save this document. And one more thing here, I'll give the scenario ID as 1.1 because let's assume that the login page is 1 and the scenario for that, the first scenario for this login page is 1.1 and the next scenario for that login page is 1.2 and the next scenario is 1.3, 1.4 and so on. So now we have scenarios for login page, and one more, you could add one more scenario here. Verify the tab flow or cursor position. That is, when you type the address of that login page in the URL of your browser, the page will be displayed, and what is the position of that cursor, where is that cursor, that is the cursor position. Usually that cursor position should be in username text box, and after that you check the tab flow, that is, click on tab, so that cursor should go to password and it should after that, if you click tab, it should go to submit button and then cancel button. So the cursor or the tab flow is first, it should be in username, then password, submit button and on cancel button. So that is the tab flow. So this is the basic, these are the basic scenarios for a login page. And let's give that tab flow and cursor position priority as low, because even if this doesn't work, nothing harmful happens here. So let's save this document. So this is the basic scenario descriptions. These are the basic scenarios for a login page. And the next step would be to write test cases for the scenarios. And again here I have prepared a basic template of test cases, and it has a screen name we are writing test cases for, and it has a column called prepared by, and a designation and a date, and if you want to add your company logo, we can add that too. And I have given scenario ID, scenario description here, that is what was the scenario ID. It was 1.1. So the scenario description, what was the scenario description? Let's just copy paste that from the scenario table. This is the scenario description for username text box. Just paste that scenario here, and we are ready to write test cases now. And in the test case I have a serial number, test case ID, the description of the test case, test steps, input values, expected result, actual result, the status, and the defect ID. I'll explain you this briefly after a while. Now first let's write test case ID. Here is, I have given test scenario as 1.1, so let test case ID be 1.1. so this would be easier for us to track. Not every organization will follow this. I mean, very less organizations will follow this. Most organizations use quality centers or any other tool to write test cases and test scenarios, all that. But I'm here, I don't have a quality center or a test director installed on my computer, so I'm using these Excel sheets to give you guys a brief idea. So coming back, the description, the scenario was verify the functionality of username text box. So now we should check the username with valid values. This is one test case, and the test step for that would be enter data in username, and the input value, let's say admin is the valid username, and expected result, what we are expecting, that it should accept that, because it's a valid value, so the username text box should accept that value. And the next test case would be 1.1.2. now here with invalid values. Now we are checking the username text box with invalid values. So the test step would be, test step means what we should do to check that username is the test step. So now let's say the invalid values is some Saturn, and it should not accept, and we have given some minimum characters and maximum characters lengths there for username, that is 4 and 15. So let's add a few fields here. So first we've checked with the valid values, then with the invalid values. Now with digits, and after that we'll check with special characters. Spaces only, etc. You could add that test case also, but let's go with the boundary value analysis now with check. Let's write the whole sentence. Check the username with alphanumerics of check the username with alphanumerics of let's say, what was the minimum? 4, let's say 3 characters. So it should not accept. Now just Control C, Control V. With the 15 was that, so let's check with the 16 characters. It should not accept. Let's also check with 4 characters. With 4 characters should accept. Now let's check username with 15 characters. Should accept. Okay, let's save this document. I'll explain you this test cases. Now the first one was check the username with valid values. Here valid values are alphanumerics with characters from 4 to 15. You could use here we used 5 characters because admin is having 5 characters, and we assume that it's a valid value, so it should accept that. And invalid values we gave Saturn, and we did not give permission for Saturn to log in our application, so it's an invalid value, and he should not log in the application, so the application or the username should not accept that value. And with digits, so I did not write the whole sentence here, but it's understood that we are checking the username field with digits. Now in the requirements we did not mention digits are valid values, so it should not accept. And the input values here could be anything, and the test step should be enter digits in the username. And username, and special characters it should not